My name is Makinde Akinyemi Ezekiel. So I'll be the moderator for today. Right. You're all welcome, sirs. Uh, Today we want to, open that mask. We want to, tell the world what is really going on. Even with Christ on our sides, as humans, we still have our flaws, right? As brothers, we have flaws, right? Exactly. So our imperfections makes us who we are. And then with God on our side, right, we'll always, triumph. So today, we want to dive into a topic that is barely talked about, and that's about the man's mental health journey. How do we, cope with the stress of life? How do we actually, manage to be a Christian even in a chaos world? Those are the things that we want to really actually, dive into today. So come along with us as we journey. And I'm sure that with an open mind, with our faith, and also with our learning spirit, we'll be able to pick one or two lessons as brothers and also as our mothers in the house, our mothers to be. So we'll know how to, help us together grow. So today I will be starting the discussion with. Oh, let me allow them introduce themselves. Your name.
Praise the Lord. My name is Bolade Ayodiji.
Are you married?
Yes.
Thank you. Elder, sir.
Yeah, I'm Sunday Afolabi. I'm married as well.
All right, sir. And you, sir?
My name is Adiola Adedoyin. I'm also married.
All right, thank you. So, I decided to ask them so that we will know the point at which we are coming from. We have an elder. Okay, me, I'm not married. So, you can see the balance. Okay, so, me as a single person, we have our dear elder Folabi here, and we have two married, not so young, um, brothers here. So, we really want to like dive into this topic. And this particular segment is going to be talking about uh, our silent battle. Let's open it up first. What is our silent battle look like? So, let me ask the first question to you, sir, Mr. Adedoy. So, the first question is, why do men find it so hard to talk about their emotions or struggle?
Okay. So, good morning, church. Okay, same one. So, I think first, what I'll try to do first is try to explain what mental health is.
Okay.
Right? Because there's a bit of misconception now. When we say mental health, we immediately think there's something wrong. And we think it's mental illness. So, mental health simply is just the state of our mind, right?
Okay.
How our thought process, how we handle stress, how we handle pressure, how we carry on in life, basically. So, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you if you are talking about your mental health, right? So, now I will try to answer your question that says, sorry, can you take that again?
Okay, I'm saying, why do men very difficult to talk about their struggles and emotions?
Okay, so I think basically the society we are in, right, is conditioned in a way that men are supposed to be soldiers, right? We carry on, fight, you provide for your family, you don't show weakness, right? And it's just the way the society is. Not long ago, right? There was a debate on Twitter. I don't know if you are very far, if you use the app very well, you what I'm about to say. Some guy was on a podcast, he was interviewed and he was trying to explain the struggle of a man during childbirth, right? He had explained what he went through, how he didn't sleep for 48 hours, he barely ate, he became the errand boy of the house, he was running up and down. And then, the reaction to it was what got me, right? Like people were like, oh, your wife was giving birth, I know you could care about this, people checking on you, that, again, what the woman would go through during childbirth cannot be compared to anything else. I was there when my wife gave birth, and but if a man says, I feel this way at this point in time, I think we should listen. Again, because men are supposed to be strong, we are not supposed to show weaknesses, we are just supposed to carry on and soldier on. At times, even soldiers get tired, right? We just read here where Elijah was probably one of, men of God in the Bible, and even he was tired, he had to rest. So again, I think the society just think we are not supposed to be weak because we are men. We are human first, right? Before anything else. So it's okay to be tired. It's okay not to be okay. So I think basically the society just think we are men. We are not supposed to show weaknesses, but I'm saying it's okay for us to be weak and it's okay for us to show some sign of.
Thank you very much. You see, from what he has said, I've been able to deduce that it is actually very normal to talk about these things. But some of the reasons why we find it so difficult to talk about it is because we already assume that, okay, I'm a man. That caption, I am a man, has already killed all of the other notions about talking to anybody. And you cannot really blame men because there is a lot. Yes, there is a lot. And the funny thing is that when you actually really want to talk about these things, you will notice that it is even better to just be alone. If you ask 80%, in fact, 100% of the men in this house now, do you actually want to talk about exactly what you are going through? How many percent do you think we actually come out to say, yes, I'm ready to talk about it? Maybe barely 20% of us, because we have been tagged, I am a man, and that is always, caging us to not say anything. But then again, as a Christian, right, we understand that with God, all things are possible. True of us. All right. So, regardless of whatever we think we are facing, we still have some things that, we always kind of hold us back. So, I want to ask, Elder Sir, what are some pressures that the society has placed on men that is affecting our mental health? What are those pressures that it is the society that actually put it on us as men, as brothers?
Yeah, the fact is that God created them, male and female. And like he said, society has put a lot of pressure on men, which I don't know whether to say this biblical or not. I want to see that it's the society. Although it is clear in the Bible that man must provide for his family. And as a man, you must just be there for your family. But in a situation where the society has put it as we have, like you said, masculine, whatever, that man must always be there. That you cannot express your weakness, you cannot express your worries and fears and things like that. You cannot do that according to the society. You just have to keep bottling things up. And maybe some even believe that men are not even passing through what women, maybe women believe that men are not even passing through what they are passing through. So there is a lot of expectations when it comes to men. Then, because of that particular sometimes the way male or the male boys are brought up is quite different from sometimes from the way girl children are brought up. The attention sometimes that the parent will give to the female children is usually more than the attention they give to the male children, because they want the male to be self-reliant. They want the male child to be strong. They want the male to be able to face whatever challenge, whatever situation that may come in their way. So those are the things. The basic thing is what he just mentioned, that he has said that man has just have to be strong, just have to be there. You just have to bury your own emotions, your own worries, your fears. You don't have to express it. You don't have to even think about it. You're just that superhero that whatever situation comes, without even thinking about it, you are ready to combat it and you are ready to face it at any point in time.
If I'll hear you right, some of the pressure that we battle with is provision, right? A man must always provide. Naturally, we are providers, right? But then, because of that, natural attribute, we believe that it has to be like constant. Nothing should change it because you are what? You are a man. And this thing gives us a room for a lot of silent battles. Leadership is another thing. Because they believe as a man you have to lead, right? And then again, we battle a lot of other things because we did not want to show any form of weakness. So I want to ask, sir, how does our silence make it worse? How does our silence make all of these battles worse?
Okay. Understood. Well, starting from what he said, I also saw that video um online. I'm not a Twitter person, but I'm more on IG than Twitter. So I saw this popular influencer. So that was the first time I saw the video. One popular influencer like that brought it up, and as a man, I got it. Immediately I saw the video, I got his point of view, right? As men, we're the society has projected, oh, we are providers, we're a man now, and we're fighting a lot of battles, right? We're fighting economic battle. You want to pay rent. Rent is no more 500, it's 3 million now from January to December. A whole lot of stuff, and you have to provide. Then if you do not have an understanding wife at home, I mean, that's another battle, right? You're fighting battle at home, you're fighting battle outside. Um, so, I mean, you make a man want to just, be by himself, think, and I just want to be on my own. I'll just leave the house. If I don't have peace at home, I will just go somewhere, right? Um, that man in question, after seeing the influencer coming out and laugh, as in the influencer was just laughing, and I don't know. And the man, if he sees the video now, he wouldn't, express himself again. Like they will just like people do not understand, people do not think deep, right? So I mean, I rather just keep silent and start, fighting the battle myself. So and it makes it worse because people don't know when you don't communicate. Communication is key, even in marriage. Outside marriage, communications at work, communication is key. I might say, oh, I am a trophy husband at home and stuff like that. My wife will like, what's this guy doing? You're not meeting the needs. And I go to work and somebody who is younger than me is bossing me around. You make a mistake, they talk and stuff like that. And you come home. I cannot tell my wife that one small boy said I made a mistake and things like that. So I rather keep silent. But it's really killing, right? And we don't talk about men committing suicide, and there are a lot of statistics out there where men would just you say they're dead and things like that because they can't undo the pressure. So I mean it's really bad, but you need to communicate, and that you can actually have good friends that you talk to, that I mean in the same, they call it safe space, that you can talk to. But the major thing I would actually say is, I think when you consider the Bible, because the Bible is the greatest book in the world, and everything you need is in the Bible. You just need to align yourself. There's Bible passages that have solutions to everything you go through. So the first thing is you communicate with God. That's the first thing. People might feel that you are silent, but you're communicating with God. Then number two, your spouse. I mean, your spouse should be your best friend. You need to communicate like with your spouse so they understand. But when you don't communicate, I mean, it deepens the pain. It deepens the pain. So you need to talk to someone you trust so you can actually lift the burden. It's my own understanding.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, if I may just, chip in one or two things. So if we are quiet, right? If we are silent, it isolates us. And then other things will come to fill in that space. You are by yourself, and then you start thinking, oh, this is just happening to you. Look at where your life is. What you don't know is every other person is just going through it. But because you are not saying it to anybody, nobody's going to know. See, we're all wearing fine clothes now, and we just assume everybody's fine. I think you are fine, you look fine, Elder looks fine. But so if you don't say what is going on, people don't know, because people also have their own things to do. So we need to speak out. Uh, there was someone, I'm not sure if we would know him. He used to be the lead singer of a rock group, right? Very popular, won Grammys, did really well. He killed himself. After he died, there was a picture that was all around the place of him and his wife and his two kids. They took a selfie just outside. He had a big smile on his face. He killed himself a day after that big picture was taken. You could never have guessed that anything was wrong with him. He looked fine. His wife was there, his children. He had a big smile on his face. Like, it was even more bizarre after you see that picture, that after this picture, he killed himself. So now we would never know, right? But if only he has spoken to somebody and say, I'm not feeling fine. Again, he's a leader of a singing group. He has money. So people just assume we are fine. So so we have to actually say, if you can't talk to your partner, I will advise you to talk to your partner. But if you cannot, find, a group, people in church, elders in church. There are a lot of wise people in this church. So, speak to somebody.
Thank you very much. Okay, so
Had this said, just have to talk, just have to say something. Because if you don't talk consistently, so that they keep silence, the pressure we find a way of letting itself out through on healthy pain. Necessary anger, aggressions, maybe some people that may not even be able to manage it very well, they end up taking to drugs and so many other bad behaviors. So we just have to speak, we just have to let it out through healthy means instead of allowing it to find a way of letting out itself. So I think that is so important.
thank you very much. So let's point out some of the things that we really need to pick from this discussion. Communication is key. If you notice from the Bible text that we read, the first person that Elijah spoke to, the moment he realized that he was already weak, tired, and feeble, and very vulnerable, what did he say? God, you can now take my life, because right now I'm tired. So the first person we can ever talk to when we are fighting our silent battle is God. Talking to God brings peace. Talking to God brings peace. Then another thing I want to say is, in our communication now, okay, let me first establish the fact that we have different types of communication. 3 major types of communication: assertive communication, passive communication, and aggressive communication. Some people, some men, because of what they battle, they are always aggressive in their communication. So even when they want to communicate, because of that thing that is already there, they communicate aggressively. And somebody that wants to listen will not be able to pick exactly what they needed because of the way they communicated. The same thing is applicable to somebody who communicates passively. The yes is yes, the no is no, no addition, no subtraction. So even if they want to communicate, they will just assume that everything is what? Fine. But somebody that is very assertive, say it as it is, with respect, with dignity. Just say it exactly the way it is. With that, the person that is listening be able to pick exactly what they need to pick and know how to actually help. So when we want to communicate, as much as possible, don't let us be aggressive. Another thing I want to add is, if you look deep into it, when we, fight this silent battle, we found out that it is more like a loophole for the devil to prey on. So because we have an already made loophole, more like a vacuum that we are looking for a solution to fill up, then the devil sees it as, okay, since you have this weakness, I will just be praying. So as much as possible, we need to also try to speak out. But while we try to speak out, let us be assertive so that the person that wants to, listen to us, we actually listen and listen good. And then we as listeners, brothers in the house, the mothers in the house, the sisters in the house, let's be an active listening than just a listener. Are we together? Let's be an active listener than just a listener. Sometimes you just be feeling like, I'm hearing you. You are not actually really connected to what the person is saying. You are just there. So at the end of the day, you just find out that that is why those words will now begin to come. Shebi, you are a man now. You can deal with it by yourself because you were not picking all those emotional expressions that the person is actually bringing on. So it is very important for us to note these things. Now, beyond this, sir, Folabi, I want to ask you, does, fighting this battle make us faithless? Does it mean that we don't have faith when we battle these things?
No. Doesn't mean we don't have faith. When we doesn't mean we don't have faith. Fighting is battles. It's just the normal ways of life. We all have battles. We all have those things that we struggle with every day. And if those things are there and you're fighting it within yourself, like you said, you have to be proactive. Don't keep fighting it within yourself. No. You just have to, like you have said, prayer is so important. You have to open up. You tell God about it. And not only God. After telling God, of course, your spouses are there. Your workmates, we are there. So we have to let them know. We have to open up to them. So fighting those battles does not make us less a Christian. Because even the Bible says you will have some struggles, you will have some problems, you will have some challenges. So when you have those challenges, the Bible says, be of good cheer, I've overcome the world. So when you have some struggles, when you have some things to worry about, when you entertain some fears, that doesn't mean you are not a Christian or you are not living a life of faith. Although the Bible says be anxious about nothing, we should not be too anxious. We can be anxious, but at the same time, we have to bring everything to the feet of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because we can't win any battle by ourselves. And a life without something you are struggling for does not say you have reached there. Does not say you are a Christian. No, it will come. But the good news is that you have a God that is bigger than those battles, those worries, or whatever that you are struggling with. So the main thing is that bring them to the Lord. And he said in fight those battles for us and will be helped.
Yeah, so personally, I feel like it's not about the fight in itself. It is a matter of how. Right? Fighting is not a bad thing. You can fight, struggle, but how do you do that? Right? So, I mean, as I said, some people could get bad agents like friends, bad advice, and say, oh, you're a man, your woman should not be talking to you like that. Oh, you should have a car by now, or you should have like 2 kids by now, you should have a kid by now, family pressure, should be taking care of your mom and things like that. I mean, some would actually just go to friends that they know they are doing well without knowing the source of their, what's it called, and things like that. Then you have other people who pray, like David always, does. Like, then they pray and they come to community safe spaces like the church, talk to people they believe they trust, and they won't tell them something, and those people will now use it to, preach or tell anybody, all those kind of safe spaces. So, I mean, it's just a matter of how. So, fighting is not really an issue, but how do you fight this battle?
Okay, thank you very much. So, before we move forward, let's. I want to throw this question to the men in the house. Okay, let me share one very simple experience with us, and I want us to actually talk about it. So, sometimes ago, okay, first, I work as a protection gender inclusion focal person for your state Red Cross. And one of the days, I met somebody, and we're having a conversation, a man, and we're having a conversation. And the man was so very silent. I just felt like this man is not like very fine. Not like fine, but like deep down, there's something going on. Now, what happened was that this particular person uh, had the wife in labor, and also the father died. And then the boss, who happens to be a female, sorry for mentioning this, but let's just paint it like that. So the female boss was requesting something that requires him to sin against the wife. And then the husband is feeling like, I'm not going to do this, I believe in God. And because he is already stressed with the fact that the wife is in labor, and he already lost his dad, the emotional trauma, right? All of those things coming together. Now, he was trying to exercise faith to say, no, regardless of whatever happens, I'm going to cope with this. At the end of the day, he lost the job just because he could not, give in to what the female boss was requesting, while he was still dealing with the wife in labor after the third day. So I want to put it to us: how do you tell somebody like that to calm down? Everything is going to be fine. How do you actually make this person understand that things are going to be all right? After exercising faith and lost the job, the father is dead, and the wife is already in labor for like 3 days, and they are still not like getting any results. No positive answer. I want to ask, as men, before I come back to our panelists, how do you think we can handle this? Anybody, please? I want us to speak up and be as open as possible, because these are some of the things that happen. We might look at it in a very Christian way, like, I just believe in God. But deep down, that man will not be all right. True of us. So how do we tell this person? We are going somewhere. How do we actually tell this person? Okay.
Actually, I think that when you advise the person, maybe you have FD, okay, and say that before you advise the person, at least you should give financial support to calm him down.
Thank you for that. Financial support to calm him down. We are going somewhere. Any other person, please? Financial support to calm him down. We are moving on to that. Other things, please. Okay, sir.
Praise God. Okay, I think problem is part of life. And the other side, enjoyment is also part of life. So we should experience both. If you are still alive and you are not dead, you should know that you've escaped death before. This one will come, it will pass also. That person that you painted the scenario today, is the person dead? Aha. So you will not die. Any situation you find yourself, you will not die. Are you getting it? This one will also pass. And that's why we can stand as your parents here. We've passed through our tough times. They all passed, and we are where we are today. So don't think, oh, because it's what you built that you magnify that becomes a problem to you. When you have little problem and you start thinking about that problem, before you know it will look so big that, in fact, just imagine yourself when you were young. There are some people that you used to look at as very tall. But now that you are old, what do they look like? They look like Lilliputians. So this man is not as tall as I used to think. It's the same thing as problems. When you continue to nurture the problem continues. It's what you nurture that will grow. Continue to nurture the problem becomes so big that you think it's actually beyond you. Most problems we worry about, they are not problems that we should worry about as Christians. We should go back to that thing. God is there for you. You are not alone. You are not on your own. You are here for a particular purpose, and you will fulfill the purpose for which God created you for. People call me no problem in the family because I don't see any problem as a problem. The ones I've seen in the past, they are even bigger than this one that is coming, that is now showing shakara for me. So take it as that. Take life easy. Young people of today, maybe because of social media and you speak a lot of English, small problems, you magnify it to be bigger than it is. If you know the problem that we, your parents, had faced and we surmounted, you will not worry about the one that is worrying your head today. Don't magnify these problems. You know those problems, they will come. Naturally, they will come. But have faith that as they come, that's how they will also do what? Go. And then another one will come. And that one too will also go in another form. As you grow older, the problems get bigger and bigger, and they come in different shades. The problem you had when you were young is not the problem you have when you are old. I hope you understand that. And communication is not that issue that we talked about. Communication. You have to be careful. We need to define communication properly. Communication is not about you telling the person, telling someone. It's about you having somebody to tell and the person having a response. So you know the kind of person you talk to. When you talk to someone that cannot give you the right response, it will magnify and make the problem even bigger than it is. So communicate with the right people that can help you to think right. Thank you.
Sir. Okay.
Okay. Um, so I didn't want to talk because you said from men, but when she spoke, gingered me. Okay, so I would like to say that maybe there's any man here that feels you have problem that is mental health related. I would like to say to consider a place of a therapist. The reason I'm saying this is there was a time I traveled to Abuja and I went for a program. I met someone, and I think 2 hours, this person actually told me all his life problems. And we're just talking. And later in the night, he called me and he said that he's someone that smokes. An hour cannot go without smoking. That, do you know what? I have not smoked today. I said, why? He said he felt so relieved and at peace because he was able to let out a lot of problems he has been bottling in. Now, I am not a therapist. It means that if this type of person can even have someone, he can like a therapist can now come in form of a pastor just a professional therapist because they are trained in that aspect. A pastor might not even be able to do that. I might be wrong, but it depends if they are trained in that area. For professionals, I'm sure that this kind of person and knows that the anybody in a bond when this woman goes to a therapist and the therapist actually she asked her, when was the last time you slept? That was the first question. That means she knew what she needed. So a therapist can help. I now figure that a person can help this type of person not to even smoke again in his life in order not to endanger him. Consider put the place of therapist. And I'll say sensitive. Honestly, men could be so they might be going through a lot and you see them so happy but the place of studying the person, it might even be your brother, your cousin. You study this person that this playing itself is not normal. Then you'll be able to call the person, try to see because some people, it is when they play a lot. I studied that from my son, and I've told some people he might be kicking something when he was much younger. That time he was being shy of some but nobody like he was shy. So studying him, I knew when I'm looking at him, he's doing like this. I'll just go. Do you understand? I was trying to stay with him, and that is it. So we should study men. We should study them, no matter how small they are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll give it to Eda before we move forward. In few.
Happy Sabbath. So I just want to piggyback on what Eda Soji and Mr. Onoja said. So we've talked about communication, and I had things like men don't talk. I don't believe men don't talk. They talk, but who do they talk to? We all talk, but we may be talking to the wrong person. So when we say men don't talk, maybe we are saying that you want them to talk. That's man. And men in this situation, maybe you are talking about the one that is married. So you want him to talk, but he's not talking. So what is going on? What is going to be your responsibility? Because we talk about mental health. So many things, he talks about emotions, men go into depression. And I hope you know that when a man goes into depression and a woman goes into depression, apologies to women, women go into depression frequently than men. And they will tell you that one of the things that we inherited from the women is from our mother is depression. However, when a woman goes into depression, it's not too many of them that will end up committing suicide. When a man goes into depression, it takes longer for him to get out. And when a man attempts to commit suicide, if he say, I feel like, a woman will use blades, they can cut themselves and all of that. When a man wants to do it, he will actually kill himself. And that is why when we talk about the issue of mental health, we talk about anxiety, we talk about depressions, and like Eda Soji said, we need to talk to ourselves. I've heard people saying, well, if you're a Christian, it doesn't mean you will not have depression. So if you're a Christian, God is not a magician. So we need a support system. As a Christian, yes, you have prayed, but beyond prayer, do you need to talk to someone? And if you are the wife, do you think that the house, or if you are a family member, is it conducive enough for that man to say what he wants to say? Because if the house is not conducive enough, the man is going to go and talk to somebody else who will give him a wrong advice, isn't it? So, and I also think that part of the thing that we don't talk about, men, it's not just about finance. Yes, you are out of job. And you came home, you say, I'm out of job. Maybe your wife, maybe your sister, maybe your mom said, and they are talking, and you say you want to talk. So when they say men are talking, you too, are you a man? And it is that thing that we say that sends strong arrows to the heart of a man, and they will just, keep quiet. Some men will go into depression because of sex. That's the truth. Are we together on that? But it's something they cannot go. There are some that are bold. They will go to the family and talk about it. They will call their parents. I don't know how that, how people do that. But what I'm saying is that it is something that, yes, they will call their father and the mother and say, well, I have not done that. But yeah, these are real issues that we need to. But like Era Soji said, please, whatever problem we have, you won't be the first person that will have that problem. You will not be the last. So don't die in it. Talk out. It is good to be vulnerable. I like to be vulnerable. I like to, let me tell you, if I have a headache, ordinary headache, everybody in this room will know that I have a headache. If I am broke, if I don't have money, everybody, go and ask them in my family. I will tell, look, nobody should come and talk to me about money. They already know that. Even though I may say it jokingly, but for me, it's a way of diffusing tension. Let us, when there is love, in the family, I think our life is going to be much, much better than it is. Let us not be afraid to be vulnerable. You are a man. You are not God. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to allow the younger ones, the young brothers to, not young per se, but it's time. We want to hear from you.
Okay, Happy Sabbath Church. Yeah, thank you so much everyone for your contributions. But okay, so sorry. Yeah, so I said thank you so much everyone for your contributions so far. But I think what we've described so far is more of cure, more like paracetamol to headache when you can actually avoid the headache to start with. I think that in Africa, we run a very dismissive society. And here's what I mean. For example, when a child is growing up and the child speaks a lot, the child is expressive, what will we say? Theatic boju, what's to judge you, and all of those things, right? And immediately you begin to shut down a child, then it begins to build up that character that whatsoever it is that you're going through, keep it to yourself, right? I grew up in an household where if visitors come, elderly visitors come, straight to your room, right? And the question now is that if I'm going through problems, how do I feel safe enough to even approach the people that even when there was no problem, they dismissed me? So the problem here is that we are not safe spaces to ourselves. So if you ask me to be vulnerable, how do I trust you to be a safe space for me? So that's really the problem, right? And sometimes when we think about problems, right, for me, I can't be friends with you if I can't tell you my problems. That's like if we can't argue, we can't do these things, I can't really consider you to be my friend, right? And if I don't know, especially when you put religion and Christianity into it, we're talking about mental health, right? People tend to be performative. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, right? Which is, if Elder Inyonda is preaching every Sabbath or occasionally every Sabbath, everybody automatically has the impression that Elder Inyonda has life figured out, right? So even if Elder Inyonda is trying to say, Omo, he said jokingly that, he said, I'm broke, people will be like, I know your car now. What do you mean you are broke? You that drove down here, right? So, but the thing is that we need to, don't take people's word on a surface level. The reason why a lot of superstars Ashake said is lonely at the top, right? And the higher you go, the hotter it becomes and the lonelier it becomes. There's a lot of pressure on you and there's less people that you can trust. I don't know if I'm saying, and your problems continue to increase. There was a podcast I was listening to yesterday and it's really turned something in my brain. The guy said that his sister died when he was 13, right? And while his parents were grieving, they were also grieving and he had to take to drugs. He said his parents could not help them handle the grief of a sister because the parents themselves didn't even know how to handle the grief of losing a daughter. Do you get? So the parents that were supposed to be the pillar for their own children could not even be that pillar. Right? And that just shows how much so maybe their own parents, everybody's just just figure things out by yourself and all of those things. We do a lot of figuring things out by ourselves, right? And we have an opportunity. It's easy to say, you go through problems, right? But a lot of times when, I like to use this analogy, right? A lot of times when you see someone go through a problem and come out of it, and we see that person, and we all look up to that person, know that there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that have died in that same problem. So just one person's testimony is not enough evidence that people should keep going through that problem when we could actually be building a society where people can safely express themselves. How many people especially like traditional work offices, can even call maybe their bosses by name and say, oh, Shola, they have to call Mr. Shola, Professor Shola. Is it that same problem is it that same person that you would go to? And this is supposed to be like your person, maybe like your higher colleague, right? That you're supposed to confide in, because the truth is this, is that you have different problems in life. The kind of things that you discuss with your wife that your wife can solve, sometimes it is your wife may not necessarily be able to provide useful insight to your career. I don't know what I'm saying. So it's all about building a much more inclusive society, a society where people are more free to express themselves without feeling judged. So that's just my own opinion.
Thank you very much. So because of time, we would like to, go back to our panelists so that we can just, move forward.
Praise the Lord. So going back to the illustration, right? I believe from all the questions, the answers and advices from our older generation and younger generation, I believe from me personally, there's this gap between the older generation and the younger generation that we really do not totally understand. Now, the person had issues at work. The wife died, and a lot of things. Parents died also, right? The father died also. He was going through a lot, right? And they ask you to advise this person, right? You've never been in that situation. As your wife died, was she pregnant? You don't have any experience in it. And problems are different. Me personally, I cannot help the person. The only thing is just to stay with him, even cry with him. No, I mean, do you get now? If I come and you tell me all this, I'm like, farabale, problems. Me, when I'm there, do you get the person will never talk to you again? Seriously, I've met with a lot of people that they would just want to talk to you. They don't want you to listen. That's all. They don't need your advice. But most of our older generation, they want to advise you. No, I'm just saying. My mom always wants to advise you because she has gone through that same problem, but not in the way I went through it. So people that we meet also need to understand that some people just need you to listen. The guy has lost a lot. Me, I've not experienced that kind of tragedy. And I pray I don't do that. But the only thing is, I can pray for you. If I have money, I'll give you. Right? So, I mean, there are some problems that there's no solution. You cannot do anything. Whether you are old or young, you cannot do anything about it. The only thing is pray for that person, right? And continue to check up on the person. Even if you have that solution in your head, don't say it. Just check up on that person, please. That's my own contribution.
Thank you very much. So I want to ask this question. Elder sir, this is coming for you. So, a lot of time we will talk about your coping capacity. A lot of people, to men especially, they will say, your coping capacity is high. How exactly is our coping capacity helping our mental health? Because a lot of times now they will say problem, okay, this is a real problem, it will pass. You just have to develop a coping capacity. Some of these things will just come. How exactly is that going to be helped? As Christians.
So, Christians, like as we said, all those things are part of life. They come to stay. It's nothing you can do. That said, they have come and they will go. I think this will go a long way to help to cope. Okay, it's part of life. I hear. So this usually they say it. This may pass. Yeah, this storm will pass. It will go. So when you are that thoughts in your mind that okay, this is just for a certain period of time, and it will go. Then it will go. And as much as you can, you do those things that you think will help to solve whatever problems around? Because there are some things that has been advised. Okay, like the suggestion of, okay, involve a therapist. There are some things that can help you to reduce your stress or those the anxieties, your fears, or whatever. Apart from, okay, God is there and involving God, and God is taking charge, which I know that He will take charge. But there are some things that we need to do as well, like okay, it will. There are some things that we need to do that will help your mental health as well. I don't know whether that's what you want me to talk about, or I should just leave it
Okay,
for now.
thank you very much. So, I want to say that the older generation and the younger generation, we tend to view things in different perspective, and then we act accordingly. You will all agree with me that the way like we categorize it, the millennial, the Gen Z, the way we handle things is totally different. But that does not actually change the fact that there is a God that listens to everybody, inclusive. Now, I want to ask, based on the open now, if we believe that the church should be a safe space, is the church actually a safe space in reality? In reality, let's be honest now, is actually the church a safe space for us, Mr. Edwin?
Well, so again, like you said, in reality, right? Church is ordinarily supposed to be a safe space. I'm supposed to be able to come here and say exactly what my problem is and not get judged. Now, if I come here, I've seen situations where people say, "Oh, this is what I'm going through," and the next week there's somebody on the pulpit making an example out of it, right? Or there are people outside there in the car park in groups, just this thing we go back to the person and so again, church is supposed to be, because here we are supposed. I see churches like hospitals, right? It's because I'm broken. That's why I'm here to be fixed. So if I'm fine, I'll just be at home now. I'll drink wine and eat biscuit and just watch TV and be fine. But because I know I need help, that's why I'm here. So if we all realize that we are not perfect, right? We are broken and we want to get fixed. That's why we are here. So it is not in my place to judge anybody for what they are going through. People should ordinarily be able to come to church and see exactly how they feel. Now, we first said, "Oh no, speak up, say how you feel." Well, if I tell you how I feel, and then I hear you tomorrow that Mr. Adedo, you did that, again. So we cannot blow hot and cold. We cannot ask people to talk, and then we don't create this safe space for them. So because people need to be able to, let it out every now and then. And where else would you rather go than do that in the church? So it is our responsibility to make sure that our place of worship is a safe space for our members.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining with us through this discussion, and I believe that we've been able to pick a whole lot of lessons today. Communication is very important. Trust is very important. Confidentiality, when people come to you and express themselves, either as a brother or as a sister, please let's allow that trust to be there, because once the confidentiality is broken, it will never come back, and you never will know what the person will actually do after that confidentiality is broken. And the place of God can never be taken from by anybody, not by money, not by emotion, not by religion. God will remain God. So when we fight our silent battle, we can always go back to God, because it's our number one confidence. Whatever it is that we face, we have a God that is bigger than our problem. Thank you so very much. So in 5